Hello. Good morning, good evening, good night, good afternoon, good day to you. Welcome back to the LAMDA log. Week 4, day 3, Wednesday, the 4th of February, 2026. What are you doing? Um, so yeah, let's just jump right into it. We have thesis, storytelling through dance, combat, acting through song, movement. I missed one. We have 6 classes today. Accent. There we go. So let's get into it. Shout out Sandridge. So 9 a.m. starting off big and easy with our thesis presentation. So last week we did the 3 minutes that we worked with another partner, and this week we showed that 3 minutes. And Britt was sick, and so we had Ollie step in, which was nice for Ollie to come in and see things. I haven't seen him like at all this term, because I'm not in his project and we don't have any class scheduled with him. So, yeah, we did our 3 minutes and then we took notes, and we didn't really have time to do much more than that. Once again, I'm just going to vaguely talk about these because they're kind of personal. They're a little private. They're not private per se, but they're individual. So one person, I'll just kind of state the questions a little bit. One is basically, is villainy nurture or nature? And talking about his own life experience, and someone else did the relationship between madness, music, ancient queens, with some violin singing and spoken word. Someone else did the use of ghosts to symbolize madness, and it's going to be this kind of like ghost story where she's cleaning up her mom's things. And then another one is, what do we say when we're alone, and why? And it's based off of a bunch of things that were written in bathroom stalls. And then another one is, how can music be a call to political action? And it's a song about like a clown of swords playing and then gets silenced during the song. Cool stuff. Another one is, how did Shakespeare portrayal of benevolent something? Oh, benevolent authority mask coercive menace? And how does that fit into a modern landscape of spiritual power? Fascinating questions and thoughts. Yeah, and it was like set in a situation of reading or auditioning for a role or performing a role. And I was like, well, you weren't our first choice, and just do it as it is. But questioning the material. Then another one about how communications of love in literature change throughout history. And just talking about comparing sonnets to like dating profile conversations, and how one is romantic and interesting and another one is bland and boring. And there's this guy named Stale Toast. It was funny. It was good. Then I went. And so what I did, I don't think I might have said this, but what my 3 minutes were King Henry after the Battle of Agincourt, Henry V, Battle of Agincourt. There's a player, and silence, black stage. You hear a voice say, "This, it's the commandment that Jesus said, love God with all thy heart and with all thy mind and with all thy strength. This is the first commandment. And the second is like unto it, love thy neighbor as thyself." And then a player comes on just in simple clothes, probably black, and it notices the audience. There's not a fourth wall, and then puts on this breastplate, and then becomes King Henry, and then sees the crown on the ground, and it's in a bowl of blood or on a severed head or something, but a violent crown. Takes the crown, puts it on his head, and the blood begins to like trickle down his face as he says this humble prayer, saying, "Thank you for letting me bring peace, and thank you for these things." I'm gonna sneeze. Hey! Oh, and it's King Henry was a Catholic king, and so to emphasize the taking the Lord's name in vain aspect of it, I want him to do the christen first, like in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Ghost, Amen, and then say his prayer. And it's this triumphant prayer, but it's humble and it's juxtaposed with sounds of battle in the background. And then after the prayer, he, as the king is like happy, and removes the breastplate, and then it's the player again with this bloody crown with blood trickled on his face. He takes it off and he sees the audience and he's ashamed, and he feels this sorrow and the consequence of his actions, and he's like, there's this discomfort. He doesn't know how to respond. He's like, ugh, ugh. And then ideally it will move forward into a conquistador with the rape and pillaging of the Native Americans, um, and the indigenous peoples of the Americas, and then a Christian nationalist with ICE and with homophobia and this hatred that's caught up in this Christianity and this discipleship that shouldn't be there. And then at the end, the player is going to increasingly get more disheartened and more ashamed and more sorrowful. And then after this last one, um, maybe it'll be someone who just killed someone in a in a protest or something, I don't know, and like has the gun and puts it down and says like thank you. And then there's like a literal smoking gun, I don't know, but then the player addresses God directly and says, why would you make me play these characters? Why would you make me portray such evil in thy name in this blasphemy? And then God responds. And I don't know exactly how that conversation is going to go yet, but I'm thinking that it's going to be like, um, this is, I want the scripture. Um, I, the Lord God, will forgive whom I forgive, but to you it is required to forgive all people. Paraphrase a little bit, but that's the scripture. And then there's this moment of empathy and sorrow for those who did it, maybe to look and see something like the breastplate and the conquistador, like a little banana looking hat, and the bulletproof vest or something, whatever it is for the Christian nationalist or the ICE agent or whoever this person is, this modern example is. And there's sorrow and empathy and not necessarily forgiveness from him for his judgment, but yeah, that's the gist of it. Anyway, I only did the Henry V part. And then another one had this like chair that was dressed up, and it was this little interaction. It was very clowny, and like reading this book with this chair person and loving them. And that was what is it like to be entirely alone, or to be something lonely, extremely something. Then another one was, how does poetic language reveal humanity in our heroes and mythologized creatures? And that's mythologized figures. And it's kind of like Batman, basically Shakespeare's Batman. And then another one went, and at what point does the craft of acting undermine individuality? And it's this teacher quizzing the student, and the student can't get it right. And then another person went, and how is the female authority characterized as monstrous, and how is that mythologized? Um, and it's this woman in court defending herself from these false accusations. And then another one, what happened to the jailer's daughter? And it's addressing um, this, women's roles in theater and Shakespeare and modern time. It's cool. And then what do actors have to offer in non-theatrical places, which is fascinating. It was like this theater workshop. And then I paired up with someone and I got to have a little bit of a conversation. And then Ollie gave me some individual notes, and that was it. Then we moved to storytelling through dance, and this is our last storytelling through dance class. And it was touching and special. It was a great class. Um, that classroom is always warm. It's roasty toasty, but warm is better for the body and it helps you avoid injuries. And so he doesn't open the windows. And then we did a little extra warm ups with our arms. We did some um, rotating our arms and shoulders, and oh, we were feeling it. But I kept my arms up the whole time. They started shrinking, like, and then I was like, remember to extend your arms even further, but like relax your shoulders so they're not up here, but they're here. And oh, ooh, rough. Um, and then we listened to a song with a prompt that I'm sorry, but I can't admit I'm wrong. And and we kind of just like, as we were listening to it, like just moved a little bit, like how do we eternalize this and physicalize this? And then two people were chosen by Gregory to perform it and just to improvise this movement. And it was it was awesome. Proximity isn't necessary for intimacy. I didn't finish writing that. Pardon me. Intimacy. Um, and then some good teacher questions. What was your inner monologue? And it just had these good feelings of this like relationship, that like power dynamic shifted and changed. And then I went up with the same prompt with someone else, and it was so cool to be in it, because when it's movement that I'm not super like confident in, I mean, I can move, but I'm not a dancer by any means, at least not technically or trained wise. And I just had to lock in with my scene partner and focus on them and look at them. And I'm like, what are we doing? And I really started off with the idea of I'm sorry. And so like I went on my knees and I was trying to plead and I was trying to do that. But like, I can't give you this ground, because if I give you this ground, then it will discredit all the other times I'm right, because you'll always remember this. It's like, oh, well, you're wrong. It's like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry about where we're at. But if I tell you I'm wrong now, you'll hold it against me forever. And it had this tension and this intimacy to it, and this desire for both of us to get places together, but not being able to get there the same way. And it was just a really cool experience. My mom talks about this concept called jamming, which is like acting improvised, and she said it like changed her life and her approach to theater in graduate school. And it felt like that. I was like, oh, this is kind of probably what she was talking about, this improvised surrender to the moment and to your scene partner, and just to feel it out. And it was so cool. I loved it. Loved it. Um, Discovered moment to moment, we're locked in. I started with that apology, but I can't give in too much. My scene partner was going to face going to force the apology and was super upset, but still loved me. There was suspension and room to breathe. There was different winners at different parts. Be patient and let that moment happen. Use the levels without needing um, them to mean what you think. Just because you're lower doesn't mean you've surrendered power, but it could be. And yeah, and like down can be good. There was a push down and a get back up. Um, oh yeah, she pushed me in one part and I rolled out, and it was cool. And I was just like, oh no, I'll take whatever you give me. If you're, um, because I recognize I've done something wrong. I can't tell you it, but if you think I deserve to be thrown around or I deserve this recompense or punishment for the things I did, I'll take that. I accept that, but let's move on. Um, yeah, allow the promptings to have their space to transform as well. You don't have to get stuck in it too much. And then two others went, and one of them was smiling the whole time while the other was so upset. And it had this great use um, of music and drops. It was really musical. One of them was a musical theater person who's had a lot of experience with this, and the other one was a musician. And so they were really in tune with the music, and um, and there were these great moments where like they almost touched hands, but then pulled away, and there's this great tension. And somebody said it felt like this kind of toxic relationship, like where your friends hate it when you guys get back together, and how it felt. uh, and it reminded me of, there's a moment where I turned away from my scene partner, and how it felt to turn away, and I couldn't do it for long because I needed to look at her and I needed to be locked in. Then there was a new prompt. I'm in control. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. We all felt the music, heard it, played it. Then two people went up. And it was cute and playful. It was tender. The guy like knelt and proposed a couple times, but the girl wasn't like accepting it. And there's this push and pull, like taffy pullers. Gregory always has great analogies and ideas to help us understand his concepts. But there was also good stillness there, and losing that control is beautiful. Um, yeah, you just need to lose the control and just let yourself be controlled by the moment, by the scene partner, by the music, by the circumstances of the prompt. Just lose the control. The moment felt like it would go into dialogue, one person commented, because it was so dramatic and so structured. And we were all on the same page. We all got what was going on. Oh, and then two others went that just broke my heart. It was beautiful. The first moment, this guy turns and he just has this look of yearning and of utter desire to be with this person, but couldn't get himself to do it. And the other person was just trying but was unsuccessful, and she would reach out and he would recoil but then try to go, but then he was too late. And he's very athletic and physical, and he was moving, and it was beautiful. I cried. um I mean, I'm a big sap. I cry all the time, but it was gorgeous. And then there was a moment where they tried to touch, and then they did, and then she put her hands across his chest and they danced, and it was like, oh, this is how they've danced before. But then they pulled away, but held hand, but kept connected, and they were just being pulled, but didn't want to, and the timing was wrong, and the guy couldn't commit, and it was so good. And the girl had to confess something, and was her inner monologue, and was unsure how he would react and if he would understand. And there was such trust and connection with their scene partner. It was surrender to the uncertainty of the situation. You need everyone, right? This is kind of the ensemble mentality. Just feel it. using space and timing and holding off, touching until it was the right moment, right? Building that suspension. And then two others went, and it was so fun and weird, because the guy, he's a quirky dude, but he was doing a lot of movements, and he has no technical dance experience, I don't think, but he just surrenders to the movement and does these jumps and turns and just goes for it. And then his scene partner was a girl, and she was like really cautious. It felt like a snake charmer or a lion tamer, and she was like kind of figuring it out and seeing it, but tentative. And he was like, "Oh, oh, let me do anything to work." And then she smiled at one moment, and oh, it was so good. He was like, "Yes, it's working. Let me keep doing it." And it was so fun, and it was very intentional. And then two others went, and it was so great because a lot of the time there's this moment of we're deciding what's happening, and let's do it together, which is great as well. um but the girl in this scene, she just went for it right away, and it was just reckless abandon, and it was so happy and playful and moved, um and then had this great relationship, but then it moved into this like negative sad space, and it was so good. um and then a final quote from Gregory: "A simple drop can have many ripples, like an individual moment or look or glance or touch can lead to so many things." Then we had combat, and we had no warm up. We just practiced our 30 move combination the entire time, and it was great. Um, and I filmed it. So I will attach here a film of my scene partner Brandon and I doing our combination. It was filmed by Chi Chi. She wanted to have some credit there. So I'll attach that here, and I hope you enjoy. It's not finished yet. This is just for the moves. I'm gonna clean it up. I was watching it and I was like, oh shoot, my back leg's not locked in, or I kind of look goofy. Um, but I'll get better. Brandon looks great though, so I'll add that here. So after the combat, we then had lunch. It was delicious. Um, I picked up the knives we need for Tis Pity from Joe, and then we had accents with Jess and her student teacher Carrie, and we made sure to clear the space only to have um, only to have what we needed available: notebook, water. We reviewed that P is for posture, right? There's people, posture, prosody, and people, posture, prosody, pronunciation. Easy. Easy. Um, pattern might have been in there. I don't think so, but um, and we were going to compare SSB and General American. Think of posture in placement or shape, right? So General American is typically more spread out, and SSB is more round. It has a fuller, longer kind of feel to it. So SSB, right, standard Southern British, is much more full and alveolar in the mouth, whereas American stretches out this way. It's brighter and flatter. So we compared an American speaker and a British just saying 1 through 10 and Monday through Sunday, and we observed what we recognized. And then general am has this twang to it, which is a narrowing of the pharynx. So sometimes we think twang, there's kind of a flattening of the tongue I just noticed too, but that's just got twang, ang. It's not like up here in the nose so much. It does have that, but not. Sometimes that's mistaken, and people talk like they're American up here in the nose, and that's not exactly what we're doing. But there is this pharynxical tightening. And then SSB has more something resonance. Oral resonance. I think that says oral. So then we did a little warm up. We did a yawn, and then a professional yawn, which is the tongue forward. Enjoy my mouth. And then we did kind of like in our teeth. Both ways. And then little lip trails. And then we hummed into an oral resonance by pinching our nose and speaking ah, ah. Because if we hum, that's all nasal. And so that we can kind of find those three spaces. Hope you don't hear my nose. It's a little gross. But yeah. And then very similar to what we were doing in ensemble music last Friday. And then we added that twang to the to SSB, and it starts to sound more London and more Australian and more American. And General American has a general rising of the tongue, but it's hard to. We also did this hand to mouth and ear so that we could hear it so well. I don't know which side my speaker is on. Is my speaker on that side? It might be both. La, 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 la. But that really helps you hear what you're sounding like instead of just hearing the resonance in your head. And gentlemen, Standard American is different. Oh, first we got an accent breakdown. Just a sheet of paper that was a summarization of the sounds and of the history. But Standard American is different than General American. Standard American is interchangeable with Transatlantic, so it's very kind of for film and radio of a certain time period. So the way we kind of want to get to a character accent is we want to go from as broad to as specific. So stranger to local. So you want to get to the country first, and then the city, then the neighborhood, then the street, then the house, and the room of the character. But if you're doing generals, get to a general city or something like that. And then we went around individually, and we took the time to make sure we could pronounce and we're hitting each of the sounds with consistency for the Both lexical group. Let me pull it up. Wait a second. This'll be worth it, maybe. Say something, I'm giving up on you. Da, da, ba, ba, da, ba, want you to. I would have followed you. Da, da, do, ba. That's for something else. So Bath. If we're doing SSB, take a chance and dance. I won't laugh if you can't. It is half past. And then we're also working on that softer T. It's a little glottalized. It's not always fully pronounced. So take a chance. Take a chance and dance. I won't instead of won't. I won't laugh if you can't. If you can't instead of that can't. It's half past. Take a chance and dance. I won't laugh if you can't. It is half past. Is it half past? So sorry, misreading that. No answer. Laughing staff asked to dance past. So just really getting that ah sound. And then we worked for really consistency with sound and not just general, like if that's working. Then we also did the thought lexical group. I called, but it was awkward. I hate small talk. Always caught drawing on the wall. Drawing is great because you get that intrusive R for drawing, drawing. Always caught drawing on the wall. On is different. On, I think, is a lot. On the wall. Wall, drawing, caught, always. Thought, awkward, called, small, talk. It's that all sound. Yeah, and then we went around individually for everyone and then got some notes and stuff. And then don't reach and strangle these sounds because sometimes you just overdo it. You want to kind of reach out and caress it. Like thought, I thought that was right. I was wrong. I thought that was awkward, but it wasn't. Oh, I always caught the drawing on the wall. Not I always caught the drawing on the wall. Right? It sounds like I notice that with American accents a lot when people are faking them. They just overdo the R. American accent. It's like, yeah, I have an American accent. American. It's a little overdone. And then we did some lateral Emma Stone has this interview with Graham Norton where she talks about this which is this lateral plosion. Bottle, buck. Yeah, but that's called lateral plosion. And then we did one by one with the R sound and the T sound. And the general American learners did their T's too, because our T's in American are so frequently D's or unpronounced. Mountain. Oh yeah, we're going to the mountains. I think that's a different kind of glottal stop. But for the R's, Amber turned the corner for the supermarket. Sarah and Rory cruise their barge under a narrow red bridge. Narrow had a good sound too because in American we influence it. We would say narrow, air. So it has that influence on the R with that A, narrow. And with British, it's SSB, it's not that way. It says narrow, a narrow red bridge. My heart broke far apart. Laura ordered a wardrobe. Nora adores hoarding. Search for the hurt girl in person. Girl is one that's weird too because we say girl, girl, that I is so influenced. It's girl, 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 gill, 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 girl, gill. A hurt girl in person. Here on the pier with a beer. Here on the pier with a beer. You're curiously pure on tour. Lots of linking R's too. Hairless bears are scary. Dr. Foster mixed butter and eggs. And then don't worry so much about the T's because Dr. Foster mixed butter and sugar. Dr. Foster mixed butter and sugar. Butter. Foster. Then the T's, 22 little bottles sat out on the patio. That's very not SSB, RP. So more posh. 22 little bottles sat out on the patio. 22 little bottles sat out on the patio. Hot dog. Don't do that. Got to go. Gotta go. Gotta go. That way. That way. Let's get this. That's not what you said. That's not what you said. That's not what you said. Right? To over emphasize all those T's is unnecessary. Unnecessary. So our homework is to look at the dark and light L's and to practice the text, which was a scene from Sherlock. because we love Sherlock and we love President Cumberbatch. And to watch the clip as well, because that's helpful to look at and hear the sounds. Then we had acting through song, and I went first because my voice was finally ready. I was like, I got this. And I took my sweatshirt. I have a blanket here. And like right before, I was like, can I sing that A? We'll see. And I was like, go. I was like, I guess we'll see. I don't even know if you could hear that. And I was like, I'm gonna go first. And I was, I've been on the list for like 3 weeks, so I was like, oh, I got this. And I think I missed a little bit of the emotion at the beginning, because at the beginning, to have it more as a journey, be upset and have that frustration and anger towards God. I sang "Better Than I" from Joseph King of Dreams, the DreamWorks um, animation picture. That was the pseudo sequel to Prince of Egypt, about Joseph, son of Jacob, and of the coat of many colors. I've got a coat of many colors. Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, same story. Anyway, so I needed to come in there with a little more ugh. And so we spoke it a bit after I sang it. I hit the notes, but to bring in that arc more and be like, oh, I'm upset. I thought I did what's right. I thought I had the answers. I thought I chose the surest road, but that road brought me here. So I put up a fight, told you how to help me. And he said also to hold back on the vibrato a little bit, which that was something I've worked on really hard on. And he also asked if it's hard for me to, or if I've worked really hard to sing the way I do, which is like a high floaty sound. I didn't think so, because it's kind of genetic. It's kind of just the sound I've emulated, but I don't think I've worked or stretched really hard to do it. But yeah, so it's good. I think we got to a good place. It's not as an emotional as I've done it before. I think I was just excited to sing it, but I was getting in the technicality a little more. But I was recommended Melisant, I think is what they said, which is from 10 in the Shade, and Come Up to My Office from Parade to explore the depth and grit. Yeah. And then the next person went up and sang Raining from Rocky, and it was beautiful, and I love that song. Yeah, and she just has fears and insecurities with singing, and so it was really getting to her, and with the stress of all that's we're doing right now. Um yeah, and she was like, yeah, singing scares me, and he's like, let it scare you, let it scare you. He's got this interesting voice because Graham, but he came up and gently like shook her while she was singing to loosen her up. As if the rain keeps on raining, I might float away. And if it keeps on raining, I may. It's a beautiful song. Ugh, so good. Yeah. Said it's helpful to maybe pull up a mirror if you're in your head, so you have someone to sing to if you don't have another actor, because singing to someone is so helpful. It gets you out. Then someone saying, I'm just Ken from Barbie. And this guy doesn't have a lot of experience. And so he's just like, I don't know when to come in. I don't know how singing works. I don't know what I'm doing. But once he like talked with them for a little bit, he found it, and it was so fun, and it was so enjoyable. Um and they took the time with him, gave him some notes. Um yeah, asked to like bring the range and the despair. So intense and serious. It's so good. It was so great because the song is silly. It's like, I'm just Ken. Anywhere else I'd be a 10. To live my life. Blonde fragility. I'm just 10 and so am I. And then Yeah. Anyway, it was goofy and great, and yeah, he's a star. Ugh, ugh, ugh. And then this girl got up and sang "Never Go Back to Before from Ragtime" with the last 5 minutes and freaking killed it. She's legit musical theater, so unsurprised, but I cried and I was like, oh. And me and my buddy next to me were just oh, so sad and so good. Um, so good. Maybe drive the pace a little bit was the one feedback. And then we had movement with Nicoletta to finish off the day, and checked in, stepped in the space, received, reviewed kind of our heaviness and our strength, the heavy and strong Laban principle, and then the weightlessness and light. We did that in floor, expressing it. We explored it physically, switching from one to the other, spiraling. And then we did a spinal of each as well. Then I paired up with someone and we did this really cool um, activity practice thing where we got objects with some weight. So I got my backpack. I had a Book of Mormon. I had a water bottle. I had some other books and things. And then she brought her bag and some other things as well. And with the and then we put those on our partners. And for the first thing, we just put them on, and they created a psychological connection to each. Like, this is um, my position at LAMDA. This is my son. This is my responsibility as a partner, whatever it was. And they're positive things and negative things. And then they walk around with that weight. And then they come back and you remove all of those things from them. And then they still hold the weight in their body and think how it is without physically holding it, but if they can maintain that like memory and still walk with it. And then they come back and we give them more things again, but this time the person who's the partner not holding the stuff gives them purpose with each one. So the things I think I said was, this is your artistic potential, this is your relationship with your mom, this is, what was the third one? I only did three because we were running out of time. And this is a perfect night's rest. And then they walked around with that, um, which is the burden of responsibility and feeling. And then we removed it, and they went into the space feeling that that was removed. Um, and we said it again as it was removed. This is your relationship with your mom. This is a perfect night's sleep. This is your artistic potential. And then um, they walked away around with that unburdened sense. And then it was, how does that feel? And when you take it away, and then to flip it from the negative to the positive. And it was just really cool. And then we switched, and then I was the person who was going. I think I was actually first. But some of my things were that I had a winning lottery ticket of a pen behind my ear. I had um, a cooking Christmas dinner, I think, with a bag on my shoulder. I had the price of rent, the pay for LAMDA, and a few other things. And it was just really cool. And then somebody opened up about the weight that he holds, and it was just really nice. And we just took some extra time to empathize and feel. And it was a good day. It was a really good day. Um, and then I went to Christian Union, which was really cool. Um, and we studied a little bit of Psalm 24, and it was cool just to be with a group of Christians and just talk about the Bible and our experiences and our relationship to God, and it was really cool. And that was my day. I didn't get back till late because it was supposed to go to 8:30, but we just kept chatting and snacking and having a grand old time. I sang Better Than I for them, and we did accents. I was the only American. That's not true. There, I think, was another American. Yeah, she was from Long Island, which is a good group of people, and it was really cool to worship in a different way than I'm used to. At the end, we had a little prayer circle, and everyone had a topic that they prayed about, and some we had someone who was Catholic. I was LDS. I didn't really talk about it specifically. We were just talking about um, just our beliefs and our experiences. Then two people who are just rekindling their relationship with God, and two people who grew up. I don't know the denomination exactly. They're black, and so they have like a black denominational or Baptist. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's so cool to have this eclectic group of people and just talk about our love for Jesus. Anyway, that was my lovely day. I hope you all have a lovely day too. Bye bye.